Hi, I'm Dr. Gemma, and welcome back to Cognitive, the Knitting Psychology podcast. Cheerfully and somewhat irregularly in business since 2008. Segments today may include what's on my hooks, needles, and spindles, a strategy, something I really like, put a lid on it, oh shoot, and blather. So sit back, put your feet up, pick up your knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, or dyeing, or any other yarny thing you're doing, and get ready to enjoy. Well, hello, it's Dr. Gemma, and welcome to episode 134 of the Cognitive Podcast. Wow, it's been a week. It's really exciting. It's a little emotional for me. It's been great. Your comments are very welcome. You can comment on the blog at cognitivepodcast.blogspot.com. Do not forget to put the K in cognitive. Or you can contact me through our group on Ravelry. If you need to email me, you can do that through Ravelry. But there's a different email I'm going to mention in the show notes, so buckle up. We got a lot of news to go here. Now, this is going to sound a little odd because I don't usually push this, but I'm going to say you can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the show notes if you're enjoying the podcast and if you feel you can do it. I am still employed, though, so if you want to give money to a charity, I'm not a charity. So please give it to the charity instead. Give it to the people who need it. The reason I'm even pointing this out is you are not going to use coffee to pay me for Cognitive Fiber Retreat 2023. I want to make clear, and the reason is the fees, that we do not want a third party skimming fees off the top. So I'm going to give you all the information about how to get involved and pay for CFR 2023, the Cognitive Fiber Retreat 2023, in a minute. But please do not use the coffee link. If you give money to coffee, you're just donating to me up front. And really, don't use that link. Right now, we're working on CFR. Please realize that you can always contact me through my mail at Ravelry, where I am Gemma DW. G-E-M as in Mary, M as in Mary, A, D as in dog, W as in walk. So I am Gemma DW on Ravelry if you would like to contact me there through RavMail. I don't open up my social media groups because I used to work in a prison. You all can fantasize about what that nightmare could look like, so those are still kept very private. In the warm thanks department, everyone who is supporting CFR 2023, I've gotten some really wonderful emails. I've gotten offers of things for the goodie bags. I haven't even gotten to the goodie bag planning yet. I am so grateful, I can't tell you, that people are coming forward with offers for that. If you want to promote your business or your Etsy shop or whatever, you should contact me, and you should also sit ready to put a coupon in the goodie bag. A free pattern, whatever you feel you can donate from your Etsy shop. And now in the warm thanks, the absolutely most embarrassing warm thanks I've ever given. This is to Knit Row and Photo Steve. They actually did a Dr. Gemma Appreciation Day a few years back. I don't think I ever noticed it. I was searching for one of my accounts on YouTube to see about whether my postings here for the podcast were posting to YouTube, and I find my name in this header, and it says Dr. Gemma Appreciation Day. I am so embarrassed. This is like the sweetest thing. Oh, Knit Row and Photo Steve, thank you so much. It was the sweetest thing. I don't even know how to thank you. I'm so humbled, and I'm so late in thanking you. I can't believe there was ever a Dr. Gemma Appreciation Day. You know you can die now when you go, all right, they've had a me appreciation day. I'm not kidding you. I sat there in tears. I did not put the link in the show notes. You can all look it up if you want to on YouTube. I'm sort of embarrassed, but thanks, guys. I'm really touched. I'm so moved. All right, on to the news you're all here for. Cognitive Fiber Retreat 2023. And of course, we all know it is on for Saturday, November 11th, 2023. It is going to be at the Courtyard by Marriott. In the show notes, you can find the address on Westinghouse Place, which officially is in Valencia. You can find the phone number. However, even better, you can find the link. It's in 2 different places. Actually, it's in 3, I think, in the show notes. And this is the link to book your group rate. If we get more than 15 rooms, they're just going to add more rooms. They're being really cool about this. I really would like you to be as nice as you can to the people at the Courtyard by Marriott, because they have really come through for us. Most of the requests I made, I didn't even get a response from the salespeople at the hotels. We had 2 hotels who took us seriously, and the other hotel played bait and switch and all sorts of goofy things. So please, folks, remember, this Courtyard by Marriott, these people have been really good to us. They're making us a good offer, and they have treated us right, and I can't say that for anybody else in the Santa Clarita Valley right now. I'm just humbled by how great these guys have been. So you can get your room at the group rate. At the very bottom of the show notes, after Minerva's last word, you will see the email from the Marriott where they give all the details, but I collected them at the top. At the very top, you have the opening picture of the Marriott, in fact, and the warm thanks, and then there's a header, Cognitive Fiber Retreat 2023, where I collect the brief version of all the information. The cost is going to be $35 per adult attendee. You can PayPal that to me, GemmaDW@yahoo.com. Again, there's not a link in the show notes because I don't want to get hit by robots, but I spell it out in the show notes. Please be aware that this $35 is not refundable. So if you send it to me tomorrow, it's not coming back if you decide in November that you can't attend. Why? Because at that point, I will have used it to pay for things. You can't send it to me tomorrow and ask for it back the day after. It's not refundable. Simply put, it's not going to be refundable. It's your donation to the fiber retreat, whether or not you come once you pay it. If you don't pay it, you can lose your place on the list. That's the only risk. We do our best. We do our best not to be hard-nosed and cold about this. We do our best to get people who are waitlisted in. We do our best. Please take that point of view, that this is me essentially volunteering to make this happen. And we're doing our best to get along with everybody and work through everybody's questions and issues. Please be patient with that. But this is the one thing I am firm about, that $35 is not going to be refundable. The first 50 people who pay it are the first 50 people in the door. Don't I sound hard-nosed? I'm really very nice, but it's always astonishing to me every year. Some weird stuff comes up about the CFR. It is very strange. I also want to thank all the people who wrote to me and said, here's what you charged the last time. Because I went through all my backup drives, and so far I have not found too many of my records. I did find CFR 6. Hooray! We had 8 CFRs, if you remember correctly. And now the attendees list so far. When I say so far, it is Sunday, June 11th, 2023, and it is 2:35 in the afternoon. I'm going to read your name and your number so you know where you are on the list, because you may need to remind me later, just in case you need to communicate with me and I missed something. I want you to know where you are on the list. I'm number 1 on the list because I just am. That's really stupid because I don't pay myself for this, but, there you go. There's supposed to be 50 of us. Number 2 is our own dear Lex, Lexicom. Number 3 is the also beloved Steffi Joe. Number 4, the wonderful Kai H. Number 5, the amazing Andrea 9772. Number 6, the awesome Jenna I. Number 7, the simply beloved Mary P. Number 8, it's Carmel, the wonderful soap lady. Number 9, Potchkey, coming down from Santa B. Number 10, the ever creative Mara D. Number 11, the brilliant and stunning Ariane. I'm having a lot of fun here. Number 12 and number 13, the Knitmore girls, Gigi and Jasmine, whom we love. And now I'm going to stop because I'm running out of these things. Number 14 is 2009 Nissan Altima. No, really. I didn't make that one up. Number 15, okay, I have to say it. Number 15 and 16, the Gin sisters, whom I love so dearly. Our own Peachy is number 15, and Dr. Smidgen is number 16. Number 17, we still love you guys, TMO, and everybody. Oh, wait, I got to say this. Number 18 is the remarkable Reds Knits. Number 19, the versatile and lovable Good Stuff. Oh, God, I've got to stop. I'm going to insult somebody now. Number 20, the awesome Judy K. Oh, number 21, our familiar and well-loved Priscilla A. Number 22, the enthusiastic Drew Caitlin. Number 23, the Wunderbar. How do you like that one? Sustainable Living, who I just can't wait to meet, to be honest. Number 24, I think I spelled your name wrong, but you're Cheryl Slover or S. Lover. But anyway, that's what you are. Number 25 is My Lady Irony, one of the great handles I've heard. Oh, wait, only equaled by number 26, Glowing Elegy. Why did I not think of anything this clever? Number 27 is Susan G, alias Mama at 90807. The Very Welcome. Number 28, the Simply Lovable Knit One Pug 2. Number 29, our own Amy Storm. Number 30, Celia KC, who I'm looking forward to meeting. Number 31, the simply astonishing Jedi Mom. Number 32, Plex Lippa, who I know and just can't remember who you are behind that name right now. Number 33, Pam Hogarth. Can't wait to meet you. Number 34, Lisa Marchbanks. Looking forward to seeing you. Number 35, Bora Nuna. Oh, I can't wait to see you again. Number 36, our own Heather Campbell. Number 37, Tracy DeFreitas. I look forward to meeting you. Number 38, Kimmel. Be good to see you. You betcha. Number 39, our own well-loved Izzy November. Number 40, Marjorie W. I'm sure W is also for Wondrous. Number 41, Lork Creates. Trying to figure out if you were Mork Maid in disguise there. You can let me know by Ravmail if you are. Number 42, Elise Genevieve. I can't place you, but I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Number 43, Karen, alias Klinow. Can't wait to meet you and hear what that means. And number 44, Knitting Pretty 50, which if you're 50 and you're knitting pretty, well, don't worry. You got 12 more years in you if I'm anything to go by. Looking forward to seeing you. So far, the vendors list, Lisa Souza Yarns, Oink Pigments. This is in no particular order. Tina's Soaps. She didn't give me a name, but I'm calling it that. Laser Sheep Yarns and Alpenglow. And I think I've got everybody's links now in the show notes there. If you want to be on the list as of the 11th of June at 2:39 p.m., that is the list. 44 out of 50. Looking good, guys. Looking good. If you want to be on the list, you have to contact me directly. I don't take secondhand things like, could you put our friend so-and-so on the list? I can't do that because I need direct contact. I want to be at your fiber retreat. If I don't get that, we run into a mess where people who don't know about it yet and really are going to come show up, and have they been replaced by people holding seats, as it were, in the movie theater. So that's why I say no. You really do have to contact me directly. You can get me by mail on Ravelry, Gemma DW, as in Gemma Dog Walking, Gemma DW at Ravelry. So you can get me there. You can also comment on the episode. You can comment on the Ravelry notes. Wherever you can reach me, you can reach me. So far, we have the two colorways by Dizzy Blondes. So far, I've got a handful of votes, and they're all for the blue, which surprises me and gives me joy because that's what I want too. So far, we're looking at that beautiful blue from Dizzy Blondes, but you can see both colorways in their freshly dyed wonderfulness. We are also looking at a mini skein swap. You are not obligated in any way to take part in this. Minimum of 25 grams, which is about 100 yards. If you have more than that of a color and you want to swap that, sure. I mean, if you have like 35 and you just go here, you can have the whole thing. That's terrific. You don't have to do this. There's no special identifier. You just carry your skeins around with you. And when you see people, you say, do you want to swap? But please, minimum 25 grams. Get out your scales, kids. We're talking about sock yarn here. We're not talking about anything but sock yarn. I also have a list of patterns that go well with mini skeins, and I've got in that list there's at least 3 sites that have their own lists of what you can do with mini skeins. And of course, you know I make Franken socks, among other things, with them. I do believe I'm not wearing them today. That's odd. I've got so many right now. I also have a pattern there that is free on Ravelry, a Mermaid Darkly, which is a sweater made out of minis. I'm sure there are other sweaters out there, but this is just such a beautiful sweater. I thought I would put it in there. This is by, I think it's Yolanda Dasher. Really awesome. We will also have the raffles. When you pay for your attendee fee, the $35, you get a ticket. So everybody who pays for attendance gets a ticket for the raffle. However, you can get additional tickets by bringing Mother Bear Project bears. Please go to the link in the show notes, motherbearproject.org, and look at their requirements for a bear. Don't just make any old bear because they have size limitations. So go there, look at their requirements. Please be aware that if you make a bear for Mother Bear, when you send it to Mother Bear, you also have to send the cash donation with it that will pay to ship it to Africa or wherever it is going. At the retreat, in the past, we have taken donations towards that. That is a separate fund. Do not send it to me. If you say, look, I'm not going to make any bears, but I want to donate X to Mother Bear to help send our bears, I will accept that on the day of the retreat. And I will develop a policy about how many raffle tickets you get for that, because you should get at least a raffle ticket, assuming, you don't give me 50 cents, assuming you give me a reasonable amount. So I need to think that one through. But we've had that happen where people just walked up and handed me $20 and said, I want to help pay for mailing the bears to Mother Bear. If that goes on, then we'll talk about mailing the bears to Mother Bear. Right now, we're looking good. We've got more than the 35 people we needed to pay for, as far as I can tell at this moment, the retreat. When I say pay for the retreat, I am talking about my room for 2 nights, and I am talking about the venue, the group room, which is going to be about $700. Remember, you're in Southern California. There are additional minor funds like name tags. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think what. I keep thinking of things and then I'm not writing them down. So, there's little incidentals. Often I just donate those because it's just not a big deal. Oh, raffle tickets, the cost of an actual roll of tickets. I don't know what I've done with my roll of raffle tickets for Cognitive, if I even still have it. So, there's these little dribs and drabs and extras that you're not thinking of. In previous years, we've had things like water bottles, cloth bags with our insignia, I'm not sure yet. I'm really not sure yet. But we are doing very well there right now. And also, what I want to use our extra money for is to buy from the vendors. Please keep in mind, that's what we're doing this year. That the reason CFR 2023 is even happening, alias CFR 9, is the vendors got screwed by Stitches. And I don't care if they've even gotten some of their money refunded by the time it happens, because there's a whole process they're all going through. I don't care. The short answer is the vendors got screwed. They were given very little information to recover their funds. They were told in one place that it was a bankruptcy, and yet there's been no bankruptcy detectable on the legal records. Look, guys, I don't care. We're not here to judge the vendors. They're not the ones who did the dirty here, to be completely honest. So we are here for the Stitches vendors. They got screwed. That's who my vendors are right now. Please be aware, if you want to vend, that means coming for 9 to 5 and maintaining your table. Now, if you have a reasonable amount of things, I don't mean you bring 5 things and you sell out, and you're a vendor, you got in free, which, by the way, you don't. I mean, you have to be committed. You have to make reasonable amounts of product to bring with you and to show and to sell. And you're going to be stuck at your table all day. Of course, in past years, vendors brought spinning wheels and they spun and they knitted and they chatted. And we don't seem to have breakout rooms right now, so it looks like we're doing things all around the room we're going to be using, the Valencia room at the Marriott. So I'm not a mind reader. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know fully how this is going to work because we're in a new venue. We're going to learn as we go. Surprise, surprise. We were learning as we went. at the last venue that we had for 8 consecutive years. So please try to be patient. But please remember, when I talk about the vendors, I really am talking about the people who generally go to Stitches and got nailed. I have one person who may not fit in that category, but I'm absolutely convinced that she's bringing a full load of things down to sell. And I'm not going to go on with that any further, because this is the details of running the show, and you have to have faith in me is all I can say. But the other thing, we're looking at goodie bags. I had not made the plan yet about the goodie bags, because this week, frankly, I spent getting the venue solidified. But if you want to donate something to the goodie bags, absolutely. If you want to donate mini skeins, remember you're going to need enough for every goodie bag, which is going to be about 50 bags. If you want to donate coupons to your store, whether you have a small, I don't know, I don't want to sound like I'm hinting at anybody here, so I'm trying to be careful. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling lanyards, things people so far aren't selling, or nose whistles, or whatever it is you're selling. If you want to donate a coupon for that, that is great. I will do my best to find a way. At the very worst, we're going to have little brown paper bags. I hope not. At the very best, we'll have something a little more formal. But I am going to collect for goodie bags, because anybody we can get to donate coupons. And also, this is a way of making visible other people who couldn't come, who are Stitches vendors who got screwed, or who just need their Etsy shop to get a boost. All of that is good as far as the goodie bags are concerned. So yes, you can donate to the goodie bags. Wow, so far no classes, and I'm just sitting quietly on that so far no classes. And if classes develop, if people offer to give a class, great. If on site we have a spontaneous class develop, that has happened in past years, I'm good with all of that. I think that's about all we know right now. I think the big developments this week would be the link, it's in the show notes, to get your room at the Courtyard at the group rate. And also there's my PayPal address to send me your $35. Remember, the $35, I really hope you're not going to wait till the last minute. I don't remember if I've ever given a date for when it's due, but please remember I have to pay up front for the venue. So, the sooner you send that, the less interest I accumulate on my credit card. Okay, let's move on to what's on my hooks and needles. So what have I finished? By the way, needles does include my sewing machine needle at this point. Well, first of all, I continued the link that I gave you in the notes to episode 133 to the Good Circle Skirt pattern, because I think circle skirts are awesome. I want to point out, when I talk about a circle skirt, I think some people are confused by the terminology here. A circle skirt, when you lay it on the ground, the bottom hem is a full circle. It's 360 degrees. That's a big skirt. And it's really nice. Circle skirts have beautiful drape. They're great at almost any length. When they're short, they're very adorable because they tend to have a lot of ripple action and they bounce a lot. When they're knee length or below, they're incredibly comfortable. I tend to wear them as middies. I wear them as long as I can make them, to be honest. Mine are almost to my ankle. Why? Because they're warm. In the winter, they're warm. They go great in flannel, which is often on sale cheap, because nobody knows what to do with it. So I make skirts out of it. I've been making skirts out of it for 30 years, and my flannel skirts have held up really, really well. Now, you can achieve that full circle hem in a variety of ways. You can take, as I do, 2 half circles and just have a side seam on each side of you and stick a pocket in it and a waistband on it. That's what I'm wearing, even as I speak. This is my vintage simplicity pattern, but I'm giving you a link because any idiot can make one of these. It's really, really simple to just make your own pattern. You can get your own tissue paper or butcher paper and make a pattern for it. And you can make a pattern for anything, half circle, 3/4 circle, whatever you want. But when you talk about a circle skirt, half circle skirt, a 3/4 circle, or apparently now there's a double circle, which I can't imagine, and I haven't tried. But when you're talking about that, you're really talking about the shape of the hem. And so I have a pattern, I think it's a recent Simplicity I haven't used yet. Oh no, it's another one of my vintage Simplicities, and I'm looking at it right here. This is Simplicity Vintage 9201. I think it's 1996 or thereabouts. And it is a full circle, but it is in 4 panels. In other words, 4 quarter circles. When I make this, the skirt I've been making, which is the 2 half circles with the side seams, that's actually made by folding the fabric, and the actual pattern is a quarter circle, but one edge of it is on the fold, so it actually is a half circle when you unfold it. So there's a lot of ways to make a circle skirt, but the circle is not about you're using one full circle piece of fabric. Mostly people are using either 2 half circles, which gives you basically 2 pieces to make the skirt, and you just have side seams, or frequently you see quarter circle pieces so that you will have 4 seams, one in the middle, front and back, and one on each side. And meanwhile, there are other variations like the quarter circle skirt, the half circle skirt, and the 3/4 circle and the double circle. Now, your average skirt that people wear to work and all that is based on the quarter circle, but usually the sides have been brought in a little bit to make it more fitted to people. And that's really great, but I am much happier in the circles because they're just warm and comfortable. The skirts I finished this week, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, that are from a modern Simplicity pattern, they're really based, if I look at it, I'd say they're kind of based on a quarter circle. Are they a perfect quarter circle? I haven't measured them. But they're faster and they're fun. The other thing that you need to know is the waistband. Now, what I learned from experimentation last week is if you're going to have a pocket in your skirt, the easiest way is to have a waistband. Because what that means is the pocket is going to rest at the top of the skirt piece. And you're still going to need a waistband. So if you have a waistband that is part of the pattern, that you're not making simply by folding over the fabric, that's a lot easier for installing a pocket. Because essentially you cut out pockets out of your fabric and you pin them to the top of the skirt where the waistband will connect. And you sew all that together, and then you attach the waistband above and outside that, and it works. So if you're going to try the 5-seam type of skirt, or even shorts, because I've been doing 5-seam shorts recently too, harder to install a pocket. You got to do a little more measurement and thinking. It can be done. I have done it, but it thoroughly convinced me that it's too much fuss, and you'd really rather go with a pattern that has a waistband when you're going to install pockets. But the circle skirt pattern I am sending you to does not have anything about the pockets as far as I know, but there are also links to make a circle skirt where they will show you, oh, by the way, here's how to make a waistband. So go explore that and, Pax Vobiscum, good luck with that. But that's what I wanted you to know about that. Meanwhile, back at what I finished sock number 1 of the Memorial Day Franken socks. It just doesn't photograph well. It looks kind of vomitous in that photo. It's actually kind of cute. But remember that you're only seeing the top of the sock, the stripy part. The foot of the sock is in my shoe. So it may look pretty weird, but it's a lot of fun. This particular range of Franken socks, the feet have been made out of bamboo wool blend yarn that I got on the cheap at Joann's. And I like them for the summer. That the cool foot, the bamboo makes the foot cool instead of nylon. And so these are nice. You can even wear them well into the summer. That's one reason I'm doing that. The other reason is that foot pattern is much less pretty than it looks in that picture. What a deceptive picture of the Memorial Day Frankie, I must say. It's not all that pretty. And so I realized it's an inexpensive yarn and it's great for using as the foot of Franken socks. And then I use minis, and very little of the minis, as you can see, from my leftovers from my socks that I make in a more expensive Indie Dyer type of yarn. But there is the first of the Memorial Day Franken socks. Even as we speak, if you pay attention, you can look at it and see the pattern. That it is, I go 7 inches on the leg. The first stripe is 2 inches because I do 2 inches in 1x1 rib. And then every other stripe is 1 inch or 10 rows. And so you can see that it's going to be 6 colors on the leg because one of them is 2 inches instead of 1 inch to get the 7 inches. And I think I am down on the second to last stripe before I hit the foot. No, I'm even on the last stripe. So hopefully I'll get that one finished this week. I have a big bag of partial minis sitting here next to me that I've been using for the Franken socks. Now, of course, I'm going to be skeaning them and weighing them so that I have more minis to trade at CFR 2023. I did finish the Blueberry Hoo socks. They look a little bulgy because I've got them on over my leggings. So you can see the hem of the legging there that's not as neatly folded down. These are in the Blueberry Waffle sock pattern. This is free on Ravelry. It is a tried and true whenever you have a semi-solid. I really like this pattern. These come out just beautiful every time. This is probably the 11th or 12th pair I've made of them. The pattern is really very simple. I do my typical 1x1 rib for 2 inches and then 5 inch more of leg in the pattern. It was 14 repeats this time. This was a more fine, lightweight yarn. The repeat is simple. You do 2 rows in just knit stitch, stockinette, and then you do 2 rows in knit 2, purl 2. That's the pattern, and you keep repeating that. And I use waste yarn to do an afterthought heel. When I get past the waste yarn, you can't see it on that picture, but I keep the underside in stockinette and the upper side I keep in the pattern. So, on one needle you're knitting stockinette, the other needle you're continuing in the pattern. Okay, there are the Blueberry Hoos. I also got crazy yesterday afternoon, because I had 2 patients cancel, one before and one right after lunch. So suddenly I had a 3-hour break for lunch. Rather than run around and get a restaurant lunch or do something fancy like that, I said, what the hey? And I went to my fiber pile of recently purchased cottons from Joann's during this big sale they had at Memorial Day and just before it. And I pulled 2 of my cottons. And I did this to make both of them into Simplicity Skirt 8605. This is a modern pattern. It's right out there right now. This is what I was talking about, where it's kind of based loosely on a quarter circle. So you just have 2 pieces that you're going to use for this, a front and a back, and a waistband and a pocket piece. So when you buy this, Simplicity 8605, if you hit the hashtag on Instagram, you'll see most people use it to make the pants that are in the pattern. I'm like the only human who seems to be using it to make it into a skirt. They have 4 different views. 2 are pants, 2 are skirts. I just love this pattern. Let me tell you, it is 3 pieces. There's a piece for the waistband that you're going to cut 2 of. There's a piece for the pocket that I cut 2 of because I only make 1 pocket. If you make both pockets, there's 4 of them. And then there's a piece that is the front and the back. So it's relatively shapeless in terms of skirt shaping. And that's why I'm saying it's like a quarter circle. I haven't laid it out on the floor and actually looked at it, but I love it. I really, really just love it. And it's so easy to make. At this point, what happened was I took both the fabrics, and they were already washed and ironed. I folded them appropriately. This pattern, you fold it selvage to selvage. So you're folding the short side in half and leaving the long side long. Okay, so then I laid one of them on the floor and noticed that I had extra of the floral that they gave me the end of the bolt. So I just put that on the bottom because I wanted to make sure that I did not make a mistake in the cutting. So I put that on the bottom, and on top of it I laid the fabric with the cats on it. And again, I folded it the same way. And so I laid them one on top of the other, the fold on top of the other fold, and then smoothing it all down. And then I pinned through that using quilt pins. So basically what I did was I cut 2 skirts at the same time. Instead of cutting them individually, I stacked the fabrics and cut through both fabrics. If you're a quilter, you know this trick. I'm not sure that seamstresses always learn this in sewing class, but you certainly learn it when you quilt, how to stack, how to, fold, iron, and stack your fabrics. So I cut them both out, and that was great. It really takes only an extra minute to smooth the two and get all the wrinkles out. These are both cottons, so the wrinkles came out very nicely because they'd already been ironed and starched within an inch of their lives. And then, of course, you've got two sets of skirt pieces, and you have to make sure you don't mix them up, but that's fairly easy. On this one, because of the cat pattern, I did have to pay attention to direction of fabric. Something I'm just saying because that's a common mistake. People fold their fabric with the wrong side out and then they cut in the wrong direction. I did not want upside down cats. So that worked. Woo! Okay, and so there I was. I didn't have a patient till 3, and it was about 1 in the afternoon, and I had 2 fully cut out skirts. You can see where this was going to go. That now I know the pattern so well that I already know how the pieces go together. So I immediately just pinned the 2 short sides of the waistband pieces together inside out. And I, of course, had them marked and nicked where the notches go. And then I also put the pockets on the right side, front and back. And so I just went and quickly sewed those little seams. And then, of course, it's great. You iron the pocket in the proper direction, and then you pin everything face to face on the skirt, and you do those long sides, and then you just fold that waistband and pop it on the top, and on it goes. So I did everything last night. I didn't have time to put the elastic in. I did that today and hemmed, and it just went great. So you can see the pictures for these 2 skirts. One is just a beautiful floral. You may recognize it. I had the same on a white background that I made with my 5-seam / petticoat pattern. And I wanted that on a skirt that I wore on the outside as well. And I found this, and it's more blue, so it's not a see-through. So I made that into pattern 8605. And then, of course, there was the beautiful bolt of the black cats doing their thing in honor of Minerva and my previous black cats, Carla, Smudge, and Fearless. So there is the Minerva's Chums skirt with all my black cats dancing on it. Picture in the show notes. In progress, well, the Stash Toss 2023. Since the first of this year, 4 skeins into my stash versus 34 skeins out of my stash. I'm pretty happy about that. Unfinished so far, the Dizzy Woodlands Country Cotton Shawl. That is in a beautiful colorway by our own Laura from Dizzy Blonde Studios. I needed to get back to it. I just put it to the side because I wanted to get through the socks. Why? Why all these socks and skirts, Gemma? Because they're short and easy finishes and satisfying, and that helped me get through my ASL class of fond memory. The Lane Splitter skirt, I'm waiting to get back to that. I really don't have a lot of that left, so hopefully I'll just reteach myself the pattern and get back into that and finish it because, I need another skirt. The Don't Know Yet, which is the year of blocks, 361 blocks that I crocheted 1 a day last year. We are booking on with that really nicely. I am in the process of attaching row 18. I did a little bit of it this week because it's been cold. So row 18 is clipped onto the body of the blanket. That is the previous 17 rows that are totally finished. And it's getting its long edge seamed, and then I will work on getting rid of the ends because you got to finish it as you go or you'll go nuts. Row 19 is assembled and just sitting in the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom at my feet. If you want to hear something terrifying, I know some of you have developed a thing for the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom that's sitting at my feet because it was the carton that all this yarn that went into this blanket and into the temperature blanket 2 years ago, this is the carton it was all delivered in. And then I just kept putting more stuff in it. And then I realized I want to get rid of it. So I'm trying to knit my way through the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom, which is filled with some pretty weird odds and ends. I can see the bottom of it. This is really unnerving me. I can see the bottom of it. There is hope that we will get rid of the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom. And then what will happen, Gemma? Why, I will take one of my other big, I think they're like 20 gallons or 50-gallon tubs, and I will put it there in place of it. It will just have a tidier look than the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom. In other words, it only matters to me. But those of you who are fans of the cardboard carton of Doomy Doom Doom and the accompanying small but elegant basket of horrors sitting next to it, they are getting worked through. The Pennsylvania Dutch embroidery is yet to be finished, and the Lady Eleanor shawl is yet to be finished. I think the Lady Eleanor is probably my sole big project, but I am 7 skeins out of 11 through it, so it's pretty good. It's already 32 inches long. You can see a list of my favorite resources, including all of our vendors for CFR 2023. They are broken down by dyers, by LYS and suppliers, and by the nice extras and cool stuff. I had to put Alpenglow under nice extras and cool stuff because she does dye yarn, but she also does some very cool machinery for knitting. So there you go. Dizzy Blondes, no real work there yet because my allergies are going crazy right now. I am using the neti pot. Thank you for those of you who are just about to ask. Strategy. Well, we're in mindfulness. You know, you're all supposed to be here for the strategy, right? But I'm spending so much time just getting through CFR. I love this time of year. Well, under mindfulness, I have touch wood. What does that even mean? It means you do the best you can. It's really radical acceptance with a little extra, I guess. You do the best you can, but sometimes you just have to say, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing things as well as I can, and that has to be your mantra. I'm doing it as well as I can, touch wood that things in the future go well. What I'm really talking about is the angle of the ACT hexagon. You can see the diagram of that in the show notes, where it has in black type what you're supposed to be doing and in red type what people get wrong. I'm referring to staying in the present moment. That you don't own the future and you don't have a crystal ball. You can't predict it. That's what makes life challenging and exciting. And the past, of course, is out of your reach. So you have to stay in the present. And that means you have to do your best to prepare yourself to be in this moment and to recognize you can't control everything about this moment. And you have to let go of worrying about the future. What you do about the past, we talk about in other ways, how you deal with the past. But if you're being mindful, you're staying in this moment, which means as far as the future is concerned, touch wood. You have to develop an attitude of saying, I can make a plan for the future, and that releases dopamine in my brain, so that's nice. But I can't control the future. So you have to learn to be prepared in the present. You have to learn to keep yourself up to date on your work. You have to learn to be as proactive as you can about your future, which means things like buying insurance, because if you have an accident in the future, the insurance pays for it, things like that. In other words, you know some things in the future can happen, can go wrong, and you can prepare up to a point. But then there's that moment where you have to just let go, where you have to just touch wood. I hope this is going to work. Touch wood. And you try to just let the future happen. You can tell why this is on my mind, because this is what it's like to run the Cognitive Fiber Retreat, where you have to use the strategy from the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. But there's a certain amount of risk involved in that, like renting a venue. But you have to keep trying. You have to touch wood. You have to say, I'm going to make this happen. I've only lost once on that. But really, that's really pretty good. And I'm sadder but wiser and think I can kind of predict that stuff now. Like I now know what to do to never let anything like that happen again. Sometimes you're just sadder but wiser. You have to learn from your mistakes or your misjudgments. But when you want to do something worth doing, there's always going to be this element of planning it as best you can and then saying, touch wood. In other words, good luck. I hope this works. And I'm thinking about this a lot because of CFR, because I've gotten really just the nicest rush of comments and emails and pleasant thoughts, and a few people have offered to help, and a few people have said, what about me giving you a gift certificate or a coupon or something? A lot of people see it quite correctly as a way to market their Etsy stores. All of this is good. All I ask is a coupon for the goodie bag. But we're trying to keep it simple. That's always been the mantra of CFR. And we have to run on that idea that we're planning everything we can and then we touch wood. And I think that's how wonderful things happen in your life. A friend of mine, Liz Statmore, would always say, if you want to win the lottery, you have to buy a ticket. And that's one of the great comments, because it really means if you want something really great to happen in your life, you have to put things in place to make it happen. But again, with the lottery metaphor there, you don't win every lottery by any means. So you just have to keep setting things up so that a good outcome can happen. Will a good outcome always happen? No, nobody gets that. And I look at my own life, and I think I've talked about this before, where I think, I've tried for a lot of good things in my life, particularly when I was in academics, a lot of applications for scholarships and grants and whatnot. I'm sure I didn't win them all. In fact, I'm sure I didn't win most of them. Funny thing is, I don't remember the ones I lost, but the ones I won were pretty amazing. And they took me all over the world, and they took me to some of the greatest universities and greatest university libraries and non-university book collections that exist. It was amazing. And again, it comes out of this sense of you've got to keep trying to set things up so good things can happen, and then you close your eyes, cross your fingers, say a prayer, and touch wood. And that's what I would tell you in terms of mindfulness. You're staying in the present, but you're always trying to promote a good future. And sometimes it's really going to be an act of faith, and you just have to touch wood. In the fluffy books, I was binging Seinfeld. I actually didn't watch any of it this week. I think I'm into year 4 or 5 of it. It's actually slower than I thought. Some of the episodes are hilarious, and some of them are just dry, and some of them are a little horrifying, but it was the 90s. What can you say? I must say, in books, I'm having much better luck because I'm reading India Holton's book, The Secret Service of Tea and Treason. This is her series that I think she's calling Dangerous Damsels. But this book is hysterical, and it follows 2 books that are also really very funny and very witty. Doesn't have any redeeming value. Oh, come on. It's got woman pirates who are gentle women, and they're flying houses instead of sailing ships. Yes, I said it, flying houses. How do the houses fly? Well, in book 1, you meet the houses. In book 2, you meet the witch society, the Wiccans, who are making them fly. Now we're in book 3, and you're finding out that all the servants, well, anyway, this is hilarious. Does it have redeeming value? No. Am I enjoying it? Oh, I'm enjoying it so much. It's just hilarious. The link is in the show notes. This is The Secret Service of Tea and Treason by India Holton. The double entendre, the fact that the 2 central characters aren't fooling anybody and they keep trying to tell them that, it is so funny. It is laugh out loud funny. Something I really like, I'm a little iffy on this one, but I watched on Netflix A Man Called Otto, which is Tom Hanks' latest movie. There are some warnings I would give you. It does depict someone trying to commit suicide, and it's not made funny. The frustration at times is mildly amusing, but they're not using it as any kind of joke in a sense that would be offensive, or I would have been right out of there. So I suspect would Tom Hanks have been. But I got to warn you about that. There is a lot of discussion of suicide and why. What is A Man Called Otto? It's like they took the Pixar movie Up and they set it in the real world, and there was no magic floating house with balloons to go to South America. It's smart, it's thoughtful, it's very moving, and one of the things I really liked about it, it does have a trans character, and the handling of the trans character is brilliant, because the handling of the trans character is when he's involved with Otto, the issue that's there is not the character being trans. The issue that's there is when you get to the end of everything and you're really pared down to your basic values, what do you do with other humans? And it's a beautiful presentation, and it really is a great movie for Pride Month, to be honest, because of that. Because it really hits the value that, frankly, as an older woman, I wanted to hit. And that is that the important thing in the world is not to dictate other people's lives, but to take care of other people. And when you care for other people, they become able to dictate their own lives and to make their own choices. And at the end of the day, that's the thing that counts. So I would really recommend A Man Called Otto. It's not always an easy movie, but it's very smart. It's very funny and moving at points. It's very, very interesting. And not for the kids. Kind of mature in a lot of its stuff. But it's a great movie. Okay, put a lid on it. I continue with the tea tastings. I don't say this in the notes, but I just bought the Earl Grey 10 tea bag sampler, which is like $10, and each bag is supposed to make 2 or 3 cups. I get like 2 cups out of them. But I really want the Earl Grey sampler because I like Earl Grey. And so this is Earl Grey month at Plum Deluxe. And Plum Deluxe just out of the blue said, here's a $5 gift certificate. Spend it on any order over $35, which I really appreciate. I'm not sure what made them do that, what alarm light I set off in the Plum Deluxe home computer, but I'm glad for it. However, I did have the best lunch of my life today. And some of you are just going to be horrified by this, but I love sardines. I was introduced to them by a British friend back in my teens, and I love them. They sell them, I think it's Prince somebody. Now I've got Otto on the brain now. But they sell them at Trader Joe's. They're skinless and boneless, and they're packed in oil, and it's probably not a healthy oil, I'm here to say. But you take those, and you mash them, you leave the oil on them, you can drain off some if you want, but you mash them in balsamic vinegar. I'm drooling as I say this. And that's good, and I will eat that as a snack sometimes. And by the way, sardines are really good for you. They're bottom swimmers. They don't tend to have pollution in them. They don't tend to have bad things in them. There is one keto doc who thinks you should do a fast where you eat only sardines. I don't know if I can do that, but I'm impressed. All right. Skinless, boneless sardines, a little bit of their oil they're packed in, plus balsamic vinegar mashed up. I made keto bread from Fox Hill Farms. They have a mix. And I made that, and I sliced it, and then I took the bread, and I heated butter in a skillet, and I pan-fried the bread after I sliced it thin in the skillet. And then remember we're frying this in butter both sides. I put this on a plate and I covered it while it's still hot with the sardines in oil and vinegar. And then I had a fresh sliced avocado. So this was a weird mix of avocado toast with sardine toast. Honestly, I know half of you are grossed out right now. It was one of the best things I have ever eaten. It was insanely delicious. Those of you who feel brave, go get yourself some good quality bread. Slice it thin, pan fry it in butter, cover it with skinless, boneless sardine that's been mashed in oil and balsamic vinegar, and have some sliced avocado on the side, and then play with it. Some of it's sardine toast, some of it's avocado toast. It was insanely good. And the blather, are you kidding me? Do you know how long this is running? I put in a picture of Gloria, which I think is in the last episode as well. Our pet morning glory, grown from my son's seed that he put in a little cup of dirt at school and grew. I am now trying to start 2 Gloria seedlings. They are sitting in a cup of water. I'm not sure if they're making it because our weather suddenly went cold. And so it might be a little cold for the seedlings to start, but we are going to see because I have a lot of places in the garden I want to put them. The pup date, Captain and Queenie are doing great. They're getting groomed in mid-July. And that's good because they're coming in with foxtails, and my husband is really busy trying to get all the foxtails and the dead weeds out of the yard, which is no laughing matter because we're on 5 acres here. It's no good grooming them. The thick coat is probably protecting them from the foxtails, and we still have to go over them, and we're still picking up foxtails all over the house. The Roombas are picking it up. Amazing. The hub state, he's doing great. He had a little fender bender last week, so we're working on getting that fixed. The strange good news out of that, though, we found out that our insurance agent was a bit shady, so we're transferring back to a guy I used to use who I just adored, and I always found trustworthy. So that's all very nice. The calendar, CFR 2023, Saturday, November 11th. All the news that's fit to print is in the show notes at cognitivepodcast.blogspot.com or on our group on Ravelry. And you can get in touch with me through my email at Ravelry. Meanwhile, the Evolution of Psychotherapy Conference will be in Anaheim, California, December 12th through 17th. I will probably be there for 2 or 3 days. So I'm really looking forward to that, getting all my continuing ed done for the year. Minerva gets the last word. This is a picture I took this morning, and I just love it. She's on my love seat here in the study with me. In fact, she's in the same place even as I speak. And she is just squeezed in, snugly and warm, on a cold day. It's in the 50s here and windy and dark. And she is squeezed in. If you look carefully, you will see closest to the camera is the blanket, the Don't Know Yet blanket. And she's got her feet buried in that. And behind her, you can see one of my t-shirt quilts. And then on top of that, it's a woven blanket that I bought many years ago. And then, 20 years ago. Then on top of that is a crocheted blanket made specifically to match this love seat. On top of that is my fleece that I hope to make into pajamas by sewing. On top of that, you can see a little bit of my latest crocheted sweater, the cardigan that I love so much. The whole point of this is when you are crafty, you are warm. Why do we craft? Well, frankly, it makes us huggable and snuggly. And it's just hilarious to turn around and see all your me-made stuff collected in one place and your cat taking advantage of that whole thing. So what Minerva would tell you today is, don't worry, use your crafts, wear all your me-made stuff, and get snuggly and be comfortable and warm. On that happy note, everybody, I think we're there. So I'm just going to say, everybody, stay safe, take care of each other, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So we have come to the end of another episode of Cognitive. Please do not use this podcast to diagnose yourself. If you think you are having a mental health problem, please contact a licensed mental health professional. Show notes for these episodes can be found at cognitivepodcast, all one word, .blogspot.com. Episodes can be found at iTunes under the name Cognitive Podcast, but also can be found posted next to the show notes on the Blogspot page. Thank you so much for listening. Everybody, stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.